My name is Paige Quinlivan. I'm from St. Paul, Minnesota, and I am a playwright and director of theater. I did theater my entire life. I went to a performing arts high school, and then, my junior year, I took a playwriting class, and that's sort of what sparked it, because my teacher pulled me aside and said, "Hey, this is really good. You should do this for the new play festival." I had a really good response. People were telling me, "Hey, you could do this." And I didn't just think, "Hey, I'm good at this." I was like, "Wow, I love this more than anything else I've done in my life." I try to write in a non-realistic or sort of genre-bending style. A lot of my influences come from not high culture. I really like to pull from what people think is low culture. I really love the genre or the essence of camp in all its forms, like the films of John Waters, Rocky Horror, stuff like that, TV shows like Xena, Warrior Princess, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I mean, I love things like that are sort of ironic and witty and slightly detached, but also completely earnest and just willing to put forward something that is enjoyable and enjoys itself and doesn't take itself too seriously. I just love things that are outlandish and genuine and kind of shocking, I guess. Yeah. You're daydreaming, but just on a more structured level. So that in and of itself is amazing. Just being able to think, "Oh, I can write this," and then just writing it. That itself is just fantastic and so gratifying. What makes me love it so much is seeing it in performance and seeing what people do with it. When you write a play, you're writing a text that is meant to be reinterpreted. It's like you're making the sketch, and so it's your job to create vivid images and vivid characters in a really short span of time. And then it's the director's job and the actor's job to interpret it and make it their own. My process is all over the place. I will literally be maybe listening to a podcast, watching a TV show, and I'll see an image or a certain moment, and I'm like, "Oh, I want that." Or an idea will just dawn on me, and I'm like, "Oh, that's brilliant." So then I write it down. I let it form in my head for maybe 2 years. I literally don't touch it. Every time I try to, I'm like, "This is terrible, I hate it." And then one day I sit down and I'm like, "Okay, it's time to write this." And then I sequester myself, I do not talk to anyone. I write it in a fevered state, not because I want to, but because I can't really stop. And then it's done and I look at it, and then I think the process starts, because to me, you lay out the themes and ideas and then you edit and fine tune it. So then I'll probably edit a play over the course of 3 months and try to shape it. A one-act play that I wrote, and so it started off as just this little thing, and it grew into something bigger. So it comes from a background of me. I was obsessed with John Hughes, and still love 80s new wave alternative music. It's been a really formative part of my life, and I wanted to pay homage to that and do a sort of 80s-esque John Hughesy rom-com that felt personal to me. When you look at it from today's perspective, all of his work, even though it really well articulates that sort of teen angst and that existential dread of being a teenager, a lot of his work is really sexist and homophobic and just not really helpful. And so I decided I wanted to kind of reclaim that and write a John Hughes style rom-com that was explicitly gay. When John Hughes Wrote My Diary premiered at the Kennedy Center American College Theater Festival, my professor Luke said that the air just was sucked out of the room. It was insane. People connected to it in a way that I was not anticipating. And it got a standing ovation. And I think that reaction and seeing that in the crowd, regardless of some of the weird criticisms I've gotten, that moment is just telling me what I'm doing, what I'm writing, what I'm believing in is hitting a nerve with people my age. I think in the time we're living in, particularly as like a youth, I think it's really important that playwrights in particular look at their moral and ethical responsibility to creating not only responsible art, because we've been seeing a lot of responsible art in the theater, but I feel like it's art that is just like, this is responsible, and this is about identity and nothing else. And I feel like we as artists, writers, need to take that and bring it to the next level. So we're not just talking about our identities and what is going on in America, but we need to elevate it. We need to use metaphor and be willing to have fun and create art that isn't just like, here's this responsibility you have as an audience, but it's like, here's catharsis, take that and like bring it out into the world. I don't know. I just believe in creating joy. And I think it's important as artists today not to just create art out of a sense of responsibility, but a sense of love for the world and altruism, and looking at the art you create as a gift you can bestow to the people like you in the crowd who need to hear those stories and need that catharsis.
Visit pioneer.org/postcards to catch up on missed episodes and to find out more about your favorite segments. Postcards is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota. Additional support provided by Margaret A. Cargill Philanthropy, Mark and Margaret Yackel-Julien on behalf of Shalom Hill Farms, a retreat and conference center in a prairie setting near Windham, Minnesota. On the web at shalomhillfarm.org. Alexandria, Minnesota, a year-round destination with hundreds of lakes, trails, and attractions for memorable vacations and events. More information at explorealex.com. The Lake Region Arts Council's Arts Calendar, an arts and cultural heritage funded digital calendar showcasing upcoming art events and opportunities for artists in West Central Minnesota. On the web at lrac4calendar.org.